9th October, and let us start Paripurna daily current affairs discussion using MindMaps. The first important article related to the mains is Urban Planning in India. Rethink the master plans. Let's go to the background and then we'll discuss this article from the mains point of view. As you know that in any city, there will be the requirement of master plan. What is this master plan? Master plan is nothing but which comprehensively cover the different aspect of city development, urban development, like transportation facilities, environmental angle, economic development, jobs, health, education. All these things are covered under a plan, right? So those are called as the master plan. Now, what this article will talk about is that, see, India have an aspiration to become the developed country by 2047. And by 2047, we want to become $30 trillion from current $4 trillion. That means our economy is going to grow multifold. In this journey, the city urban areas are going to be going to play the central role. Cities are going to be the growth engine in this journey of becoming developed country by 2047, right? So the question the writer raises here is that we are going to have the massive growth rate, that is a rapid growth rate we are going to have in next 24-25 years. Are our cities and urban areas are ready to absorb that rapid growth? Are our master plans are updated enough to include those rapid economic growth? Because with this rapid economic growth, there will be changes in the environmental sustainability. There is climate change going on. There will be pressure on the natural resources. There will be rise in the population or the change in the population dynamics. There will be change in the technological adaptation. Are our master plan of urban areas and the cities are ready to include these aspects in those master plans or not? That is the question a writer in this particular article raises. So let us discuss this particular article, very important from GS1, where there is urbanization topic is there. Urbanization topic can be asked. It can also be asked in GS3 economy point of view. The city as the growth engine of India, especially by linking with our vision of becoming developed country by 2047. Okay, so let us start. You understood the background. Let us start the discussion and cover the different aspect. That is rethinking urban master plans. So this is the key article, the key theme of the article. Okay, so what we are going to discuss here is that the first thing is that why there is need to rethink, right? That is the first question. Why there is need to rethink? The first thing is the reason behind these are different reasons. The first reason is that the rapid economic growth, right? So we are going to observe the rapid economic growth. That is our aspiration. To meet that, there is the requirement to change this to rethink the urban master plan. The second is that outdated plans of cities. The current plans are outdated, are not in sync with the current requirement and the future requirement, right? Third, include population dynamics, change in the population dynamics, right? That is also an important point. The fourth is the inclusion of the climate change led by the rise in the development. Then the sustainable natural resource management, that is also important to be considered, right? next aspect is the pollution, rise in the pollution, right? To tackle that also. The seventh aspect is the employment requirement, generation employment generation requirement, right? Because the population dynamics will change, so the how many number of employment we need to generate, that should also be the part of the urban planning. Along with that, the social security, that is the pension system, elders care, child care system, health, education, these aspects should also be included. That's why the current urban master plan requires us to rethink, right? So these are the requirement. Now what the writer proposes, what is the solution, what kind of master plan we need to develop, that is the next question, that is the a kind of the solution. The writer actually proposes very unique solution. See, what writer says is that the current urban planning is mostly focused on the municipality based planning. Municipality based planning. That means a particular municipal area is considered in order to plan for that city. However, the current economic growth or the city growth, what we are observing is that the growth in the outer area of the municipal areas, municipal boundaries, we are seeing the rise in the population and the growth in these area. So what writer is saying is that we have to shift from the municipal based boundary based planning to the overall regional planning. This whole city region should be planned. This is the core municipal area, and this is the peripheral municipal area, which may not be included under the administrative boundaries. So urban city planning need to consider the peripheral area also. That is the first point writer is saying, and which I felt is the unique point. The second important point is that the small cities planning should be part of big city, that is a mega city planning, because the growth of the small city depends on the mega city. Example, like the growth of the cities around the Mumbai, or let's say Delhi, this is Mumbai. The growth of the cities near the Mumbai will be influenced by the growth of the Mumbai. Hence, the planning should include the smaller cities planning should consider the larger city planning, or what we can say that the larger city planning should include the smaller city planning also. That is the second point. The third point is that the relationship with the villages. See, we cannot have the isolated planning of the city. The city development also depend on the peripheral or the nearby villages development. So their planning should also be included in the planning of the city. So the villages development and their projections should also be included. Along with this, the writer says that the comprehensive climate change, the environmental management plan should also be included in the master plan of the cities. Then the next point comes is the fifth is the integrated transport system. Transport system should also be the part of urban city planning. Integrated transport system which focuses more on the public transport, so that can be more sustainable. If everyone starts using their own vehicle, that will cause more pollution. Hence, if we will move towards more public transportation like metro, the emission will reduce, and that way we can move towards the sustainable cities. Okay. In conclusion, what writer says, see, what we understood here is that there is significant requirement to rethink our our urban master plan, especially by to link with our aspiration to have the rapid growth to become developed country by 2047, because cities are going to be the center of this development. Hence, we need to rethink our current planning law, regulation, and our educational program so that we develop our cities such a way which meets the requirement of the developed country by 2047. That can be the conclusion. So, we need to change our regulation, education, and planning such a way that it meets the developed country vision 2047. So this can be the conclusion for this this discussion or this article. Okay, let's move to the next article. Next article is the places in a news. It is important from the prelims point of view. As you see that the locations are the important question UPSC asks, especially in the match the following. Before that, this El-Fasher is in the news. El-Fasher is in the news. What we need to know is that which country, that is the most important part of this the question. However, we need to know the background. What is the context? The context is, see, in the Sudan, there is a fight going on between the rapid support force. This is a paramilitary force like we have in our CRPF we have, na? So it is kind of CRPF of the Sudan. And then Sudan army is there. Sudan army, which is the military, right? Armed forces. So there is Sudan army and there is paramilitary force. So both are fighting. Both paramilitary force and the Sudan army are fighting. It is like the Indian army and the CRPF and other paramilitary army are fighting. So similar in that kind of situation has arisen in the Sudan. And recently what has happened is the city of El-Fasher. The city of El-Fasher has been captured by these paramilitary forces, rapid support forces, right? So that's why this is in the news. So for us, what this much context is enough. But what is important for us is this location. See, this is Sudan, this is Africa, and here in the northeastern part you have the Sudan. Within the Sudan you have this the bordering countries: Egypt, Libya, Chad, Central African Republic, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Eritrea, and the Red Sea. And this is the Sudan. The capital is Khartoum. So the first important location is Khartoum. Okay. The second important location is this, El-Fasher. What it is? El-Fasher. Then Naila. Okay. And any other? I think this this four, yes, Darfur is also sometime UPSC asks question on this kind of thing. This Darfur. Please remember these four location: Khartoum, which is the capital city; El-Fasher. Then you have the Naila. Wait. We have the Darfur. These are the four city name we have to remember. For which country? Sudan. Okay, so for Sudan, this is the location, and this is the location, and these are the important location. And other parts are easy to understand, because we know that as the conflict is going on, that creates the humanitarian issues like the food security, education, health, violence against women, children. So those issues are going on, and the Sudan is facing a lot of humanitarian crisis because of the fight between the paramilitary forces and the armed forces. So these are the important location: El-Fasher, Darfur, Naila. Okay, let's move to the next article, that is the climate inequality report. Now, how this is important for us is that sometimes UPSC asks about the report, who publish. report, who publishes it, who publish. This is the important part. The second important thing what UPSC can be useful is in the mains. In the mains, sometimes the UPSC in the mains we can use this report, we can quote this report to highlight the inequality which is arising due to the climate change. And inequality is one of the topic in GS3 as well as the GS1. So here we can use this article, this information. Okay, what is the context? The context is that the climate inequality report has been published by whom? The World Inequality Lab. The World Inequality Lab have published this report. So what thing we need to know from here is that, see, so what it is, the climate inequality report. Climate inequality report. Okay, this is the news. Now who publish? First is the who publish. See, these things you can watch in 1.5x also, or the 2x. Watch in the first if it's because we are creating the notes on the spot, right? So that's why sometimes it can take some time, some extra time. So please consider that part. Okay, who publish? What we got? The climate World Inequality Lab, the World Inequality Lab. And these notes are going to be very useful. That's why we have to invest this time. Okay, so what this the report is saying, what are the key findings? This is who published. What are the key finding? The key finding is that, see, the first finding, there are distinction has been made between the consumption based emission versus ownership based emission. What is the difference? The difference is that by consuming any product, for example, meat based, that is the animal based product consumption, or any other form of consumption, how much emission is happening. Second is the ownership, that is due to the wealth, like any person is owning any carbon intensive company, so that is a wealth, right? They are having the asset. So that is the ownership based emission. So that also releases emission. So what this the data says that the top 1% emit how much? Emit 15% of greenhouse carbon emission. However, the bottom 50% release 10% of the consumption emission. So this is the inequality we are seeing. However, if you see the ownership based, 41% of the global emission are associated with the private ownership, and the report says that the top 1% account for 20% of the private ownership emission. So top 1% releases 20% of the private ownership emission. So this is the inequality clearly you can which is visible here. So this data you can use to quote about the inequality which is present with respect to the carbon emission if the question is asked related to the climate change. Now let's move to the next article. Next article is related to the International Solar Alliance Assembly, which has taken 8th session has taken place in India in New Delhi. Honorable President have addressed this inaugural session of International Solar Alliance Assembly in New Delhi, as you see in the picture. Now what is important for us here is the International Solar Alliance. This is very important topic. Now what is its origin? The first thing is that it was formed by India and France when it was formed in 2015 in COP21 of United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. So this COP21 happened in 2015. In this time this was established. Currently it have 125 member countries, right? This data is not important, but these two are important, right? And what it will promote? It will promote the renewable energy, especially the solar based renewable energy. What are the initiative has been taken? Initiatives by this International Solar Alliance. This is important. Some initiative, let's list out. The first initiative is the Sunrise Initiative. What is the Sunrise Initiative? It stands for Solar Upcycling Network for Recycling Innovation and Stakeholder Engagement. Basically, this is a platform which connects the government, private sector, and other to actually unlock the value of the solar waste. Solar waste utilization. So this is the scheme or the program. The second important initiative is the One Sun, One World, One Grid. UPSC have asked question on this in the mains. One Sun, One World, One Grid. Basically, it want to create the grid system between the different country. So this is the cross-border grid system. So that the power generation in one country can be supplied to the other countries. The third initiative is the Global Capability Center. What it is? Global Capability Center. See, capability centers are those centers which do the research, innovation, especially in the cutting edge technologies. So the Global Capability Center, it is to create Silicon Valley for the solar in India. Basically, it will provide the research and training facilities to bring the innovation in the solar system, solar technology, innovation in solar. So that is the objective. Next is the Solar for Sea initiative. From this term only you must have understood it is to bring the gender equality, especially in the solar sector. Gender equality in the solar sector, right? So these are the different initiatives under the International Solar Alliance. India is one of the leading country in the renewable energy sector. So what are the India's current status, especially in the renewable energy sector? This also let's quickly revise. The first thing is that India is the fourth largest renewable energy capacity, having the renewable energy capacity fourth largest. It is around 120 gigawatt. What is the goal of India? To become install 500 gigawatt of the solar power installed capacity. So India is in the right path. It is on the fourth leading country, and that's why become a key leader in the climate change tackling through the renewable energy production. Now let's move to the next article, that is the 8th Central Pay Commission. Have you heard about this Central Pay Commission? Pay Commission is an what you can say, the body which recommend for the what should be the salaries, what should be the pension and the service condition of central government employees. Okay, so the eighth Central Pay Commission was constituted in January only, but recently what has happened is the Union Cabinet have approved the term of reference. What is the term of reference? Term of reference are basically what they have to consider while deciding what should be the salary and the service consider, which factor they should consider, like what is the salaries going on in the private sector and other, that we will discuss in the article. But what you understood, what is the term or reference? It's nothing but the what should be the terms and the factors which should be considered by this commission while deciding the salaries and other benefits should be given to the central government employee. Right now, let's understand more about this pay commission. Pay commission. Okay, So what is the first thing we need to know about the pay commission is that, see, the government time to time actually they constitute this pay commission. These are the temporary bodies which are constituted for the most of the time it is constituted every 10 year, so that they can give the recommendation to the government with respect to the salaries and other benefits to be given to the private sector employees. Public sector, central government public sector employees. Now, what it is? The first thing is that this is temporary body established every 10 year by central government. Okay, what it is to recommend on salary and other service condition of central government employees. Okay, so this is the about the body. This much we need to know. This is the temporary body, not a statutory and those kind of body. The current 8th pay commission, that is the 8th pay commission, the chairperson of this 8th pay commission, that name we should remember. It is Justice Ranjana Prakash Desai. Is the retired okay, Justice Ranjana Prakash Desai. Okay, what are the terms of reference? Some important term of reference given approved by the central government, that the cabinet to be considered. See, the first is that the what is the economic condition of India? Economic condition of India. Definitely we have to see, we can't give so much salary, very high salary, because we have to consider what is the fiscal prudence. I mean, the it should not be like that you are paying so much salary, so much pension, that you don't have money for the welfare scheme, and your fiscal deficit, that is the debt, is rising and rising. The second thing is that we have to see that the availability of adequate resources for availability of adequate resource for welfare. See, remember, this is a public service. This is not a private sector job. This is public service. So the public welfare should always be the priority. It should be like the salary should be the secondary. The public welfare should be the priority, right? So that principle we have to remember when we are working. We are working for the service, not just for the salary that you can get in the private sector also. So that principle we need to remember. The third thing is that what is the prevailing salaries in the private sector employees, what they benefit they are getting, those things are also considered. Other factors are also there. We don't have to remember all the thing. The idea you got, that is more important. Next important article is the National Biodiversity Authority to support farmers for red sandals. Now let's understand the what is the context first. See, the context is that the National Biodiversity Authority has released 55 lakh to 18 farmers of the red centers in Tamil Nadu. Now the question is why this National Biodiversity Authority is, why they have released this fund. Okay, so what is red centers? These all things we have to cover to cover comprehensively this particular article. Now the first important thing, let's cover this comprehensively as the what we can cover is the national the topic should be access and benefit sharing. Access and benefit sharing. This should be the key topic actually. Now see, first, what is the access and benefit sharing? Now see, understand this carefully. See, there are forests, right? There are this forest, for example, this is red sanders or any other species. See, here the indigenous community have the traditional ownership over it. Traditionally, they use this forest for their economic, social, cultural, spiritual benefit. They get some resources from this forest, right? So this includes the farmers also, like the red centers farmers. Now what is happening is that this forest is being diverted, or these resources are being used by the companies and the government for the economic benefit, for the economic development. Now the instead of this indigenous community, government is using it. So, and the government is getting the benefit out of it. Benefit is being generated by the government. Now this the concept of access and benefit sharing is that this benefit, the share of this benefit is shared with the farmers. So this is so that their indigenous their traditional right should not be violated, right? So that's why this is called as the access and benefit sharing. Access and benefit sharing, basically we are sharing of benefits derived from the red centers or this forest. So understood. That's why the Tamil Nadu farmers have received from the government, that is the National Biodiversity Authority. Here nothing but the National Biodiversity Authority, and hence the next aspect we have to cover is the National Biodiversity Authority. What is this National Biodiversity Authority? See, first is that this is the statutory body. Why statutory body? Because this has been constituted under National Biodiversity Act of 2002. Biodiversity Act 2002. So, and this comes under the Ministry of Environment and Environment, Forest and Climate Change. So this is about the National Biodiversity Authority. Other than the National Biodiversity Authority, other bodies are also involved here. Other bodies. See, there is hierarchy of the bodies, like the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change is there. Below this there is National Biodiversity Authority, which works under the Ministry of Environment. You have the state biodiversity boards. You have the state and the union territory biodiversity board. Then at the local level we have the biodiversity management committee. At the local level, at the rural area and those places, we have this kind of bodies which is called as the biodiversity management committee. So this is the institutional framework which is provided under the Biodiversity Act. Now this access and benefit sharing, have this background of this is also present in the Convention on Biological Diversity 1992. See, this is the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity, which promotes the conservation of biological diversity, and under this there is one Nagoya Protocol. This Nagoya Protocol provides for access and benefit sharing. That means the benefit derived from the biological resources should be shared with the community, local community, and those who got impacted from or who got lost because of such use of such biological resources. This is called as the principle of access and benefit sharing, derived from the Nagoya Protocol under the Convention on Biological Diversity. Now lastly, let's cover the red centers also. Red centers. You must have heard about this red centers. The famous Puspa movie is also revolve around this red centers trade. Now this is mostly found in the Eastern Ghat, as you know, Andhra Pradesh and this Tamil Nadu, this region, Eastern Ghat, and it is highly endemic. What is mean of endemic? Endemic means when a particular species is found in a particular geographical region, that then it is called as the endemic, and this phenomena is called as the endemism. Okay, and remember this particular tree takes a lot of time to grow. Almost around 25 to 40 years it takes to get the matured level of growth, right? So it's a slow growing tree. Now what is the IUCN, that is the red list status. This is endangered species. Under the CITES, what is the status? It is listed under the second schedule. Okay, And in the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, that is the of India, it is listed under the Schedule 4. Schedule 4. So these are the different features of the red senders which should remember, can be asked in the prelims examination. Now let's move to the next article, which is going to be our last article, which is the domain name system. Domain name system, DNS. DNS, you must have heard. You may not have heard about this full form of DNS, but the DNS word we have heard, we often hear with respect to the technology, especially the digital technology. What is the context here? The context and the news is that the Amazon Web Service, which is one of the largest web service in the world, their largest data center, US East 1, was caused by the some disruption has been caused, outage disruption has been caused in the DNS by DNS error. So some DNS error happened, and that's why the Amazon Web Services found some outage on the disruptions. So now let's cover this. What is the meaning of this DNS? Okay, DNS meaning. See, the domain name system. Three words are there. That means, see, domain, how we identify the domain. Mostly, for example, you are visiting any website. For example, www.facebook.com, like this. This is by reading it, we are able to identify what the domain is, what the website is, right? It is the Facebook. However, the computer does not read like this. Computer read in the numerical form. So they have the numerical IP address. Numerical IP address. And you must have seen like this 57.0.143.144.30.30, like this. These are the IP address. Basically, these are nothing but the DNS. These are DNS, domain name system. So this is the domain name system, the way the domains are named, especially for the computer language, in the numerical form. Now, if this numerical data, that is the DNS, this DNS is disrupted, or some error occurred in this DNS, then what will happen? The computer won't be able to identify the website, identify the domain. It won't be able to work properly. And that's why the many system which were dependent on the this Amazon Web Services, for example, even the Chat GPT, found some disruptions, right? So the variation or the error in the IP address, that is the DNS, leads to the error with respect to the functioning of different websites, softwares, and the applications. This is called as the DNS. And why this error can occur? This error can occur if this address is changed, or some malicious activity has happened over it, right? So that is the news about it, and that is about the DNS. So today we had discussed these articles. How did you find the lecture? Please comment and share with other aspirants. And yeah, thank you so much for today's discussion.